Hello, and welcome to our show, Crooked Doctors.
Crooked Doctors, people.
Alex Sanchez is supposed to join us.
It'll be a little late, traffic or whatever, I
Well,
believe.
actually, he's in deposition testimony.
There we go.
So I'm not sure what happens, but he asked if we would donate a portion of our show from now to the election
Sure.
to help Congresswoman Carolyn Maloney.
Yes. Her campaign, yes.
Congresswoman Maloney has been very helpful to the 911 first responders.
Yes.
So Alex wanted to share her, the support that she has given to 911 first responders and talk a little bit about how they're trying to take funding away from the 911 first.
This is a drug bill, right? Yes.
Right, but basically there was a health care bill passed. We were invited to a press conference on Monday.
We were.
And we have some footage. So Alex wanted to talk about that a little bit, and Congresswoman Maloney, Carolyn B. Maloney, has been very helpful to the 911 first responders.
As a matter of fact, she's been instrumental in much of the legislation that has recently been passed.
So Alex may or may not be here because he's in deposition testimony,
Yes, mm-hmm.
And he's fighting to try to get compensated for the poisons that he inhaled as a cleanup worker. So he may or may not be here. If he comes, he'll walk in late, so that's fine.
Yes.
In the meantime, I'd like to answer a question. So I'm going to change the camera view. And this is the Albert Einstein College of Medicine website.
Yes.
And we were asked a question. We will take calls if you guys want to call in. There was a caller a couple weeks back who wanted to know why I picked on Milton A. Gums.
Mm-hmm.
And I wasn't picking on Dr. Gums. Dr. Gums was on my promotions committee when I was a student at the Albert Einstein College of Medicine. By the way, here's Dr. Gums' contact information.
Oh, there it is.
So we can actually call Dr. Gums. But here he is, the Albert Einstein College of Medicine. And wait, let me just do this so we can see him. This is Dr. Gums. He was on my promotions committee, and I actually talked to him. He's the Associate Dean Emeritus for the Office of Diversity Enhancement. This is Dr. Milton Gums. And the question that we were asked a couple weeks back by a caller was a thinly veiled swipe, because they were like, oh, you're a racist and you're picking on him because he's black.
To play the race card, as it were.
No, that's not true. I wasn't picking on Dr. Gums. Dr. Gums met with me during my first year in medical school.
I see.
And he was one of two professors who met with me. And I explained to Dr. Gums that my classmate, Robin Patton, had a scheme to cheat an anatomy lab.
Oh.
And I didn't want to be part of that, so I asked to be put in a different group. Milton Gums, Dr. Gums, also knows that I did not fail all my classes as a first-year medical school student. So in 2006, when John Scarfone, Associate General Counsel of Yeshiva University, went into federal court and lied about me, guess what? It was Dr. Gums' responsibility, his legal duty. I mean, he had a legal duty to me.
Yes, he does.
To accurately report that I did not fail all my classes as a first-year medical student. That was a lie. John Scarfone lied about me in federal court. This is the Albert Einstein College of Medicine of Yeshiva University. These are the crooks, the crooks,
the quacks, and the shysters
in our neighborhood. But it was Milton Gums' job. He sat on my promotions committee, and it was his job to confirm that I did not fail all my classes as a first-year medical school student.
Okay.
So when I was named as a witness against the Albert Einstein College of Medicine of Yeshiva University, and John Scarfone lied about me, it's Dr. Gums' legal duty and response. Remember, I paid tuition to this school.
That's right.
So it's not like it's optional. You have
A duty.
right. You have a moral duty. You have a legal duty. You have an obligation to say no. I'm sorry. That attorney, Associate General Counsel John Scarfone, lied. I did not fail all my classes as a first-year medical school student, except for Todd Olson's anatomy class.
Right.
I was not picking on Dr. Gums. It's Dr. Gums' job. He sat on my promotions committee. So when I go to people like Dr. Gums and say, when I call them out and say, no, I did not fail all my classes as a first-year medical school student. Right. Your school lied. You falsified my academic transcript.
Right.
And we've been going over how my academic transcript has been falsified.
Of course.
And, here we go. This is Todd Olson, the anatomy professor. Yep, the infamous Todd Olson. Todd Olson also sat on my promotions committee, and it's his job. It's also his job to accurately report that I did not fail all my classes as a first-year medical school student. So, as the viewing audience knows, I've been fighting false criminal charges.
You have, yes.
Because and I discussed this with Jerry Nadler when we were at the.
Yes, Jerry Nadler was at the presentation, the event where Carol Maloney appeared. Yes.
There was a press conference on Monday, October 15th.
Ground zero, people.
And we were invited, and I went with my camera, and we have some.
And she's got footage.
And Congressman Jerry Nadler was there.
He was, yes.
And I spoke to Congressman. You witnessed me?
Yeah, I witnessed it, and peculiarly, he didn't have much to say, and I don't know why is that, Lydia?
Because he's horribly embarrassed.
Is he?
Because during the Yeshiva Victims Group fiasco, I was contacted by other students. I was asked to be a witness in their cases. Yeah. We actually drove up to Albany in 2006. Gay activist Alan Raskoff came with us on the trip up to Albany. He was brave enough to give me an affidavit. He wasn't afraid.
Right.
That affidavit is in federal court. Next week, I went and got out of the Southern District of New York and the Second Circuit Court of Appeals. I went and got every single document that was filed in my case, put it on CD, and gave a copy to U.S. Marshal James Howard, and to U.S. Marshal Shane Doyle, and to U.S. Marshal Emmanuel Mishka Wartofsky, and they all have those certified CDs. So they know that when John Scarfone claimed at criminal trial, this was the farce of a criminal trial that was used to illegally incarcerate me, that when John Scarfone said, well, we don't know why she keeps bothering us because we produced her records in federal court.
Yes, however, what is it about those records?
Well, they're falsified.
Here we go.
But it's not only that they're falsified, but they did not produce them in federal court. The documents that show that have already been provided to the U.S. Marshals. And they've been scanned, so they're on the hard drives of the computers at the Second Circuit Court of Appeals. So that means that John Scarfone committed perjury. Excuse me, but bearing false witness is
sure.
Not kosher.
It's not kosher, sure.
And it demonstrates that in my criminal appeal, my attorney now should be arguing ineffective assistance of counsel because my then attorney, who I fired, Michael J. Redenberg, and I should get a picture of him.
Yeah, you get a photo on.
I should get a picture of him. Don't hire Michael J. Redenberg.
No, don't hire that guy.
So when my then attorney at criminal trial refused, not neglected, but refused to question John Scarfone, that's ineffective assistance of counsel. And the point of this farce of a criminal trial was to railroad me into prison. And one of those people who was responsible is Todd Olson.
Todd Olson.
Right? Todd Olson
There he
is a
is.
liar, and he is a professor of anatomy at
Okay.
the Albert Einstein College of Medicine. When I was a first-year student, I refused to go along with the scheme to cheat,
Okay.
and I asked, and this is Robin Patton's scheme to cheat. So
Okay.
a scheme to cheat in an anatomy lab is
Yeah.
not a problem that originates with Lydia Radin.
Uh-huh. Has that been routine over there, as a matter of fact? A scheme to cheat?
Yeah.
Ah, there we go.
Yeah, there is a scheme to cheat, and and Milton Gums also sat on my promotions committee. So I wasn't picking on Dr. Gums because he's black.
Uh-huh.
I'm sick and tired of being called a white racist cracker.
Yeah, that's no good.
I think we put that.
I think Lydia has effectively put that to bed.
And you were called a white racist cracker too.
I was certainly called the right racist cracker, and I have made the point that well, my wife is a black woman, Jamaican, as a matter of fact, and I don't see how. I think that effectively refutes. It puts to bed all those white racist cracker comments. You know, they're
How long have-
scurrilous.
how long-
Well, let's say about 15 years married. You see, and to me, I think it's abominable that people would use such terminology. And we're certainly putting that terminology to rest. I don't think anybody will come up with it anymore.
Good. So we're done with that.
Yes.
So I didn't pick on Milton Gums because he was black and I'm a
Sure.
white racist cracker.
Absolutely.
Milton Gums was on my promotions committee. I met with him during my first year in medical school. Forcing contact with the way they handled this, it wasn't a problem. They were out to get me from day one.
Yeah.
There was no intention for me to graduate medical school.
Sure.
Let me go through a little bit of the backpedaling.
Okay. Go ahead.
At criminal trial, the school admitted that they promised to support student research 100%,
Yes.
but they refused to support my student research
Why?
because there was no intention for me to graduate.
Oh, okay.
And so, contrary to the college's promises that they support student research 100%, they
Yeah.
did not support my research.
That's not a true statement. Yes.
It's a lie.
Uh-huh.
And now they're backpedaling and they're saying, "Oh no, that's true, not true. Lydia Radin just has sour grapes because she applied for support and didn't get it."
This sounds to me like damage control. Would
Yes. Very good. Yes, it's damage control.
Damage control.
It's not true. They wouldn't even let me
Sure.
apply.
Right.
And I wanted to apply for federal work study money.
Yes.
They claimed that all the federal work study money was spent. That's just another lie.
Uh-huh.
That's not the way federal work study money is administered.
That's not the way.
All eligible students are supposed, and I was eligible, are supposed to put in an application, and available funds are supposed to be distributed
Yes.
equally and equitably
Sure.
among all eligible students.
Absolutely.
And certainly there's no shortage of federal work study money at a major university like
Uh-huh.
Yeshiva University.
There you go. They're in demand.
So it's just nonsense. There was plenty of federal work study money. They
Sure.
refused to allow me to apply for it. When I was doing my research at Long Island Jewish Medical Center, which my attorney is abbreviating so that, I'm such an anti-Semite that I'm doing research.
Oh, yeah, the
Yeah.
anti-Semitic card. Okay,
Right.
go ahead.
So in order to, when I asked for support at Long Island Jewish Medical Center, I asked to go to the grants office, and they
Yeah.
refused to let me go to the grants office. So at the point where, and then, subsequently, why is this important? Because after my illegal expulsion,
Uh-huh.
I got a federal grant,
Oh,
thereby demonstrating increased functioning.
sure.
So you can't characterize me as
Oh, boy.
a schizophrenic.
Yep.
I'm demonstrating increased functioning. I could get a federal grant, and
Yes.
it's becoming more and more clear that I was persecuted by these people through life.
Yes.
So, one of the people that I ran into in my fighting the good fight, who has also been persecuted, is let me finish the backpedaling.
Sure.
They stipulated a criminal trial that
Okay.
even though the school promises to support student research 100%. They
Yes.
did not support my research.
No.
This is a violation of the federal laws that govern administration of federal student loans. The school is misrepresenting itself to prospective and enrolled students.
Okay.
And when the school commits fraud like this,
Yeah.
their ability to administer federal student loans, the remedy is to pull the program, and the school can never again administer federal student loans,
Right.
because the federal government feels that it has been very generous, and it's sick to death of schools that commit fraud.
This is the tip of the iceberg, I think, too. This is done all the time.
Right. So not only did they falsify my eligibility to borrow
Yes.
in a federal student loan program, and not only did they falsify my financial records to falsify my eligibility to borrow in a state tuition assistance program, and not only did they falsify my eligibility for a federal Pell Grant, a state tuition assistance program grant, and they falsified my eligibility on a promissory note, but they also made promises to me as a prospective students that they would support student research 100%.
Yes.
And they admitted that that wasn't true. They made the promise, they did not fulfill the promise,
Right.
and they misrepresented themselves, and that's a violation of the federal laws that govern administration of federal student loans.
Okay.
So they're demonstrating that they're financially irresponsible because they make promises for services that they don't provide.
This has to hurt their base, their economic base. Students will no longer apply to a discredited university, and don't you feel that's the case?
Yes, and I think that
and you're certainly making the case. I'll tell you that much.
not only did they make promises to support student research 100%, and they admitted that they didn't support
There
mine,
you go.
but they also treated me differently than other students.
Well, that's if they treat you differently, that's a basis for a lawsuit or something like this.
And I don't even have to. It was my idea, and I presented this idea to an attorney like James Michael Lenahan.
Yeah.
That when the school has different standards for different students,
Sure.
you don't have to show discrimination, because there's a very high bar that you have to reach.
Well, you see.
Let me just
Yes,
finish.
let's make the case.
The federal laws that govern the administration of federal student loans say that
Okay.
when you treat different students differently, the school is demonstrating that it's administratively incapable of administering these federal student loans. The bar is a little bit lower. All you have to do is show that students in the same categories
Yes.
are treated differently. So, for example, they falsified my academic transcript.
Oh my.
And they claimed that I was on a leave of absence.
What?
Oh, a medical leave of absence.
Oh, medical leave. I get it.
But they canceled my health insurance.
Oh.
So I'm like, that's really interesting that I'm on a medical leave of absence,
Yeah.
because I'm a poor little sick girl. But they canceled my health insurance.
Yeah, it's contradictory.
Yeah. And when they did this to another student,
Yeah.
she was given the option of retaining her health insurance if she just made the premiums.
Well-
I was never granted that option. And Robin Patton went on a medical leave of absence. I believe that was a pregnancy leave, and they didn't cancel her health insurance. It's just so interesting. Robin Patton didn't have her loans get driven after you're out of school for 6 months.
Yeah.
Your loans come due, but that didn't happen to Robin Patton.
Okay.
She didn't have her health insurance canceled, so she went on a leave, medical leave or pregnancy leave for like a year.
Yeah.
Her loans were never forced to come due. They forced my loans to come due. She retained her health insurance. They canceled mine.
Yeah.
When another student came along, Marlene Abramova, and they tried the same scam with her to illegally suspend her, they offered her the option of retaining her health insurance.
Sure.
So I can give example after example about how I was treated differently. And the reason why this is important is because, according to the federal laws that govern the administration of federal student loans, when the school treats different students differently, and we're similarly situated in the same categories, then that means that they're demonstrating, the school is demonstrating, that it's administratively incapable of administering federal student loans, and the program should be cut.
I had something to offer on that. I was involved in a civil rights thing. I was the one that filed. I won't go into the details; they're monotonous. But basically, treating somebody differently is the basis of a civil rights complaint. Without that, you don't have a case.
Very good. So, there are civil rights issues here, including the fact that there's never been a fair hearing for a medical school student in the state of New York since the dawn of time. So, we are about 20 minutes into the show, and you know that we're from Jersey City, and one of the people that we work or try to help, we formed an alliance. No, we're not going to talk about Pauline today.
What are we talking about today?
We're going to talk about Patricia Waiters.
Patricia Waiters, here we go.
Because it was a very event-filled week, and Patricia Waiters and I went to ask for help from our governor in New Jersey.
Governor Christie, yes.
And I have film.
And she has footage.
But we're not going to show that today.
Right.
What we're going to show is that the people that we're dealing with in Hudson County are very dangerous people.
It's a machine in Hudson County, and it's been that way for 25 years.
Well, we're done with that.
That's right.
So Patricia Waiters and I have been going to the U.S. Attorney's Office when the local boys commit crimes.
Right, the good old boys.
We went to the U.S. Attorney's Office in Newark.
Yes, you did.
I've been going there since 2008, and so has Patricia Waiters.
Sure.
Well, most recently, they told Patricia Waiters that she was never at the U.S. Attorney's Office.
Oh, and how did you
lie.
How did you debunk that argument?
I have film.
What?
Yeah. One of Patricia Waiters' trips to the U.S. Attorney's Office. This is Eric Holder's office.
Oh, wow.
And I have film of when, after this, Patricia had gone down to the U.S. Attorney's Office.
Sure.
She's giving them her
in Trenton?
In Trenton.
Oh.
She's giving her, she's gone to every freeholders meeting. She's giving her papers. She's asking to be interviewed.
Okay.
And we spoke to, you're going to like this. This is the card of the woman that we spoke to who claimed that we were never there.
What?
Yeah, I'm going to show you the card of, and we also have film of this.
Yeah.
This is the business card of a woman named Constantine Jones.
Yeah.
She's a paralegal, and the last time Patricia Waiters, and you know Patricia Waiters because, I had her on the show, and she's got, she has a photograph of her with President Obama.
Wow.
Before he became president.
Yes.
She was she was an aide to one of the city council members in Jersey City, Ms. Flood, who unfortunately has since died.
Passed away. Yes.
And when she went there, when I sent her off to the U.S. Department of Justice, she talked to Connie Jones.
Okay.
Now, when I was there with her, and the way we left it with Ms. Jones was that Ms. Jones asked for about 2 weeks because she was at trial, and then promised that she would get back to us in about 2 weeks. That was about a year ago. And I keep going back to the U.S. Attorney's Office, and Patricia did, and they claimed that she was never there.
Yeah.
Okay. So I also have film of when the U.S. Attorney's Office in Newark treated us with contempt. We got in our cars and we went to Washington.
Oh, right.
And there's Patricia Waiters on the streets of Washington, D.C. At the Department of Justice. And they wouldn't even let her in the building. They had a private security guards.
Yeah.
You couldn't even go into the building to ask for help. So, this is our government in action. Me and
one thing. You see, this is the best government. This is the best government money can buy. Okay, go ahead. I tried to get that in there, but go ahead.
You can't even get in. So when your police department, the local police lie, when Ed DeFazio, the Hudson County prosecutor, has been lying since 2005.
Sure.
When Debbie Simon, one of his assistant prosecutors, promises an investigation and lies.
Yeah.
When the Jersey City police threaten me, and you're there.
Oh, yeah.
When Judge Falcone lies, when Judge Rodriguez lies, when we go to the FBI and they blow us off, we go to the U.S. Attorney's Office in Newark, and this is what we get. We'll get back to you in 2 weeks.
Yeah, don't call us. We'll call you.
That's a year ago. We're supposed to be interviewed in 5 days, not 5 years.
Sure.
And then Patricia and I go down to Washington. She's being stopped on the streets of Washington, D.C. by a private, and I have film of this, by a private security guard that won't even let her in the building so she can make a proper complaint to her government. So me and Paul Brewer went and had meetings with at Congressman Mica's office. They've been very helpful, trying to help, and at Senator Grassley's office. So while Patricia Waiters is duking it out on the streets of Washington, we're trying to get some Republicans to help us. And
who came through?
Well, Senator Grassley is coming through.
Senator Grassley, there you go.
So we go back to we come back to Jersey City. Now they're backpedaling and lying, and they claim that Patricia Waiters never talked to Ms. Jones.
No, never showed up.
Except I have film. And the response that Patricia Waiters got was, "Oh, we here at the federal government can't help you because your problem is on a local level."
On a local level.
And doesn't involve any federal employees.
Of course.
I don't think so, because you see, when you go to the U.S. Department of Justice in Newark, and they're supposed to interview you in 5 days, and she's been going there since 2008, and the only thing they want to know is, and she's got all her stamped papers, the only thing they want to know is, do you have your records? And you know why they're asking her that?
Why?
Because they took her records and threw them away.
They did.
Yeah, now they want to know if she has copies. She's got videotape, and we're going to look at the videotape. And here's what the videotape says, and it's about 5 or 6 minutes.
Sure.
We meet with Miss Jones, and Miss Jones, you're going to hear through this this tape, which I'm going to Miss Jones is saying we have a civil rights attorney. We're like, yeah.
There you go.
And she's saying, I'd like you to talk to her. Yes. Yeah. And I'm talking to Miss Jones, and Patricia's showing her papers, and she's saying, look, I've been at every freeholders meeting. These are my documents. This is what the federal judge did. This is how facts were kept off the record in my federal case. And I'm saying, the problem here is, Ms. Jones, is that, let me just set this up a little. Patricia was a corrections officer in Hudson County, and there was no reason to fire her. But they decided to get rid of her. Apparently they've done this to other people.
Well, what reason did they give?
There was no reason. There was a bunch of stupid little reasons. And when you start attacking the stupid little reasons, you realize that there's no reason to fire her.
Exactly.
And so the problem with Hudson County now is, if they admit that, yes, there was no reason to fire you, we just made up these stupid little reasons.
Sure.
Even the federal judge involved said in her written opinion, well, there is no real big reason to fire Patricia from her job as a corrections officer, but all these little incidences, collectively, if we
it's an aggregate. That's what they use, right?
But the problem is, when you start attacking all those little reasons, there's no reason to fire her.
That's right.
So though they persecuted Patricia Waiters like they persecuted me,
that's right.
And now if they admit that they're wrong, then how do you justify, or how do you compensate persecuting this woman and her family for the past 6 years?
That's right. That's right.
And how do you compensate her for the 3 stress-induced strokes that she suffered through? Okay? So I'm talking to Miss Jones, and I'm saying, look, we're playing in Hudson County's ballpark.
Yes.
We don't trust you people.
Nope.
And she's saying, no, don't worry, we're a separate agency, don't worry, nonsense. And then, and I say to her, look, I have audio, in addition to this videotape and other videotapes, I have audio tape of Sergeant Stone, and Sergeant Stone is instrumental in Patricia Waiters' case. Because he says she's a good officer. The instances that they're firing for are just made up, they're trumped up, they have nothing to do with her. And I'm asking Sergeant Stone, why didn't you testify in her federal...
Why didn't he? Right, and why didn't he?
His testimony was deliberately kept off the record.
Oh, they can do that?
It's dirty lawyer trick number 346. They create a false court record.
I see.
And we'll be talking about some of those things, but not now.
Yeah, I understand.
They create a false court record through false statements of material fact and deliberate omissions. They kept Sergeant Stone's testimony off the record. And I spoke to Sergeant Stone and I audio taped it, and he knew who he was talking to, and I said, and he was willing to come forward.
Yeah.
The only thing that Sergeant Stone wanted was protection so that he wouldn't suffer retaliation. And I'm explaining this to Constantine Jones at the Department of Justice.
Yeah.
I'm explaining this to her, and I'm saying, look, these are civil rights issues here.
Sure they are.
When witnesses are intimidated into not coming forward, these are civil rights issues. And she's like, yes.
Isn't that witness tampering? I mean,
thank you. Thank you. It's not rocket science. Thank you. So Patricia Waiters gets a response from Washington, and they poo-poo and they downplay, and the U.S. Attorney's Office lied and said she was never there. And I'm like, Patricia, I have videotape.
Yep.
So let's go to the videotape. Okay. So
Here
what
we go,
we'll do
folks.
is I will show you the videotape of Patricia Waiters trying to get help from Ms. Jones at the U.S. Attorney's Office. So when this is why we had to go to Governor Christie this past week. Me and Patricia Waiters, went to Governor Christie and we asked for help.
You didn't see Governor Christie. Now you saw who?
No, we saw Governor Christie in person. I talked to the man.
I didn't know
and
that.
I said, help! We need you. We need you in Hudson County. We need you now.
Okay.
We got judges lying, police lying.
Well,
I got the Jersey City Police threatening me.
Well, you see, Governor Christie is responsible for half of these people being put in jail in the first place when he was Attorney General. Right.
Let's go.
So he's the guy to catch, sure.
He was never Attorney General.
Well, no, he was the prosecutor.
The federal prosecutor.
Federal prosecutor, and he put half of Hudson County in jail behind bars. So he's the one to see regarding Lydia's case.
And Patricia Waiters. And God knows how many other people have come to the U.S. Attorney's Office in Newark, file, you put your papers in, and they throw them away. And then they want to know, gee, did you keep copies? Because that way we can't get away with
Tip of the iceberg, folks.
If Patricia kept copies, and Lydia, if you kept copies, then geez, it's going to be a little hard for us to destroy the records and say you were never here. They actually said that Patricia Waiters never went to Newark, I have the videotape.
They ain't going to get away with it.
I mean, that's really outrageous. So the last time when Patricia Waiters went down, I said, I'm coming with you, and I'm going to film it. So let's go look at it. So let me pull it up. Unbelievable.
Yes,
Government in action, ladies and gentlemen.
They won't even talk to us. Okay,
now this is...
Why you did that? I went to the freeholders and took the freeholders. And this piece recorded and this be on the record. I went to every freeholder meeting. This is yesterday's date.
This is here. She's showing Constantine Jones. She's saying, look, I went to every freeholders meeting.
Yeah.
These are all the freeholders meetings I went to.
I showed them that they recorded evidence. I did lose my job, right? Thinking they will work with me, but I came.
This is Constantine Jones, Ms. Jones. The paralegal, she's in the pink shirt here. And here's Patricia Waiters. She's showing her document after document.
They're going to let it to the judge. It's the main thing I want to do that. I don't know if that.
This is Patricia Waiters right here.
I gave this to the judge saying everything, let me utilize this letter. And I asked him what. Okay, this is what I'm doing. I found out that the judge didn't contact the judge. So that's why they wrote this. Wow.
Now, you just heard Ms. Joe say, wow.
My name is Lydia Reagan. I'm sorry, calm down. Do you have a card, Ms. Jones? Actually, I didn't bring any with me, but I do. Can you just... Okay. You know what's sad about this is I made a couple phone calls. People are willing to come forward. Like, she's telling the truth. I'm like, would you be willing to... I'm like, would you be willing to talk to an investigator? They said, yes. I was like, would you be willing to testify? They said, yes. All we want to do is make sure they're not retaliated against. There are people who come forward saying this is a false statement of material fact. They're willing to, I mean, it's a phone call. I don't want to go back. I mean, you're talking about the runaround. They say go there. Listen, wait. If I talk to people willing to come forward, do you want them to call you, or would you call them?
Well, what I want to do is we have a civil rights attorney here. I need to speak with her first.
Okay.
What steps she wants to do, because it may, to me, I'm thinking it may fall within the civil rights violation.
Oh, of course it does. She's being denied equal protection.
I don't want to go to. I was really going to go.
No, we want to go to Washington.
No, not yet. I told you.
No.
They said work with this. I told you that I got to do what they're telling me.
So let me ask you something. So I understand. Let me ask you something. If you were playing in their ballpark, in their field, why would we feel that we would get justice? I mean, these are the Hudson County executives.
No, I know. That's
we're scared.
why it is
No, listen, wait.
No, I think we should go to no. I think give us a referral to someone.
I'm not just
No.
Listen to me. I'm right there.
No, the reason
because we want
to come from this office. We have a civil rights attorney.
Okay.
And once she finds that this warrants an investigation, then she has to take action, but it has to go through us first.
Yeah, we're not trying to go around you, but what our concern is.
I want to show that this case is tainted.
Oh, it's a lot more.
The evidence to them forward is what I'm saying.
It's not tainted. There's no basis for your dismissal. It's crap. They just made it up.
Just about a protocol. You have to change
Honey,
the
I know that. They're going.
That's why
I know that.
I met you. I have confidence in you. The only thing that made me bring this back, because this is the original document, and this is more powerful, because I even went after the 25th date, I even went and tried to reconcile. You see? I even went and tried to talk to them and say, listen, this could go away, blah, blah, blah.
No, their problem is that the problem is that they admit that they fired her illegally, and how did they justify the last 6 years of hell that they put her through, including 3 stress-induced strokes? We're talking about, and the only thing they got is a whole lot.
I'm happy because my son is in law school. I'm just up in the Schulenburg. Now the attorney thanks Patricia. Document everything. Show that you following the chain of command. I can't jump the gun. We went to governor's office December 19th. I'm sure how they do. Why did you miss all of those people and wind up in trip? You gotta follow the chain of command.
No.
And that's what I'm doing here. I don't want to jump the gun. I want you to do your part. I got confidence in you, and I'm gonna just sit back and wait. I waited this long.
Okay. But no, wait. What we're concerned about is we're playing in their ballpark. So I mean, we're
not necessarily in their ballpark, because we're a separate entity from Hudson County. Although we deal with them, we're a separate entity. So if it does warrant an investigation, you don't have to worry about it not going through.
Okay, wait. Let me just wait just a second.
When I sued in Hudson County, that was different. I went to court and Judge Falcon heard it. She wasn't supposed to hear it in Hudson County. That's what she mean by divorce. That don't have nothing to do with
I understand that. And what also concerns me is that there were people coming forward. I mean, this was a simple phone call. I made a couple phone calls, and I'm like, can you just confirm for me? And I'm like, can you pick out an example of a false statement of material fact that shows that, these little petty incidences of harassment really are fabricated? And she has witnesses coming forward. The only thing they ask is, could you protect us so we are not retaliated for telling the truth?
She has a jail now. They rolled her up 2 weeks ago, 190 days suspension. I coming at my mother because of the EEO.
So, with great respect, I mean, I took another investigation to Debbie Simon and Ed DeFazio. They've been participating in crimes for the last 6 years. She has no confidence in Hudson County is going to do anything other than give people. Really? Okay. So one of the steps that we're prepared to take is, if our government refuses to protect us, because I've already reached out to international human rights organizations at the United Nations. This is not a legal protection of the law.
Right. So you got I'll give you copies of these.
Yeah, I'll go make copies.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going to make a copy of this one, and I'll bring it back to you.
And I will never forget your name.
Do you have a card?
Yeah, I do. Okay, so I'll go up to my office, make the copy here, and then I'll bring it back.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Right. Patricia Waiters never went and talked to Miss Jones over the U.S. Department of Justice.
Isn't that something?
And you heard her say, I'm going to go make the copies.
Of course she is.
And then I'll come down and give you my card.
And did she?
She came down, she made the copies, she gave us a card. She asked for 2 weeks because she was at trial, and then they would get back to us. That's almost a year ago.
A year? Oh,
A year ago.
my goodness.
So you heard her say things like, "We have a civil rights attorney here."
Absolutely.
And we should do an investigation, and we're a separate entity from Hudson County.
Well, they are, but however.
Well,
There's a call. Is it Ben?
hello? Let me get my caller. Hello?
What'd you get for your birthday?
For my birthday, I collected evidence that showed, well, I can tell you this.
Good.
We were in court so much this week.
Oh, I'm telling you.
You'd think we were lawyers. But there is a judge. We can probably do this next week.
What was the judge's name?
There is a judge, municipal court judge, Frank Babcock, in
right.
in Jersey City. He's helping in a landlord-tenant case.
Yes.
And I gave him evidence, and he's like, "Oh, can I have this?" I'm like, "Yeah, because I just won your case for you."
Frank, isn't he? He's a he's an attorney, right?
Yeah, Frank Babcock is an attorney.
Something new, a new case.
No, what we decided to do is, I've actually been working on this for a while, but what we decided to do is we're forming a group, and
Tenants United.
Tenants United, and
interesting. Oh, it's covering the area of New York and New Jersey. It's a bi-state group. Interesting.
well, why don't we just make it international?
International.
Because we're sick and tired of going to other groups asking.
Exactly.
So we're going to form our own group.
Own group, yes.
And we went to court with one of the residents of Jersey City.
Yes,
Her attorney is a guy named Frank Babcock.
Frank, yes.
Frank Babcock is a municipal court judge in Jersey City.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And he didn't like me for a long time because his colleague is Judge Rodriguez.
Oh.
Judge Rodriguez is the judge who refused to enforce the no contact order.
Well, why is he coming around now, Frank?
Because
Explain
I'm
that.
helping Frank win his case.
Wow.
So I went out and collected enough evidence to help Frank win his case.
Yes.
And now all of a sudden Frank is asking me for help.
Yes.
And Frank was at arm's distance because he was told don't associate with Lydia Radin. She's being blacklisted. Yeah. And Frank Babcock was one of the municipal court judges that I had to go to when I was illegally evicted from my home in Jersey City and I started to live in Washington Heights. I had to go back to Jersey City because I had outstanding parking tickets.
Yes.
And it was interfering with my ability to drive. So I had to go back into Jersey City Municipal Court and clear up these parking tickets.
Yes.
And Judge Babcock was one of the judges that I talked to, and I explained to him, do you think I really care about where I'm parking? I got people threatening my life and acting on those threats.
Sure.
And one of those people is your colleague, Judge Rodriguez.
Yeah.
So when I came, so he's aware of this, and it's talked about openly now. I don't have a problem with Judge Rodriguez. I also have a problem with Judge Babcock because it's not his job to ignore the fact.
Is a female, right?
Judge Rodriguez is, and thank you very much.
Yes, she is a female.
Thank you very much.
Nestle Rodriguez.
Nestle A. Rodriguez. She is a female. She was
Nestle,
Nesle.
Like the candy bar.
Like the candy bar.
Yes, that's right.
Like the candy bar. Nestle A. Rodriguez.
Nestle Rodriguez?
Yes, Nestle A. Rodriguez. She was the chief judge.
Yes, she's chief judge.
I'm not sure she still is. She's in the municipal court at
Yes.
Jersey City. She's the chief judge.
I believe she still is.
She still is? And she refused to enforce the no contact order in early August of 2008. And had she enforced that no contact, and you heard my mother called in, said, yes, your landlords were violating the no contact order.
Yes.
You went down to the municipal court as Judge Rodriguez instructed.
Yes.
And said, every time they violate the no contact order, come down here, file a complaint. Yes. I did. They refused to take it.
They didn't take
and
it.
had Judge Rodriguez enforce the no contact order in early August of 2008, as she told me she would, I never would have been physically assaulted and almost murdered about 2 months later on September 30th, 2008. Judge Rodriguez has been trying to cover up for the fact that she's directly responsible for my injuries because she refused to enforce a no contact
She's on the
order.
hot seat, people.
She's responsible for the 5 herniated disc and the
That's right.
pinched nerve damage?
Yes, and she's also directly responsible for helping my medical school steal money in a federal student loan program.
That's right.
Because when my landlady went down and made false criminal charges, I asked for a public defender.
Yes, she did.
I had to fill out an application. You were with me when I got
Oh, I was with her, sure.
I had to fill out an application for a public defender. You can't get a public defender unless you fill out an application.
Sure.
In that application, I was required to disclose financial information,
Yes.
like my federal student loans.
Okay.
And I put down on that application how my medical school had lied to steal money in a federal student loan program, in a state TAP program, and in a federal Pell program, and I
Okay.
explained this to Judge Rodriguez. So Judge Rodriguez was well aware that my school was committing fraud in a
Yes, she
federal
was.
student loan program. And to back myself up, I gave Judge Rodriguez and other judges case law, notably Judge Ray Velasquez, case law that shows that a municipal court judge, and this was case law from New York,
Yeah.
that shows that a municipal court judge with a poor pro se litigant like me could have enforced the federal statutes that control federal student loans. So Judge Rodriguez could have stopped federal student loan
Yes.
fraud, the harm to me, the harm to the taxpayers,
That's right.
in municipal court in Jersey City in 2008 when I asked her to, but she refused. Instead, she cooperated with my medical school in helping that school to continue to steal money from me.
Yes.
And then they all tried to weasel out of this.
Yeah, but why though?
Why? Because the consequences for federal student loan fraud are so huge
Yes.
that they called Yeshiva University. They were in contact with Yeshiva University. John Scarfone was lying to
Right.
them. And, this was coming out in my, Alex, come on in.
All right, Alex.
Come on in.
Here we got a reserved seat, Alex.
No,
Come
no, no,
on
no.
in.
You were in depositions. How did it go?
All right.
Set the monitoring.
Oh, okay. Not allowed to talk about that. Sorry.
right, here I
Oh,
come.
I've let the cat out of the bag. Let me just finish the question.
That's good, because I got a question for Alex anyway.
Wait, let me just finish. So we're in, the falsified financial information is coming out in my landlord-tenant case, and because I've been declared in default illegally on a
Right.
federal student loan,
Right.
I can't get another apartment. So Judge Fast knew, Lawrence Sidoni from Legal
Yes.
Aid knew.
Yes.
Judge Rodriguez could have enforced the federal statutes
Sure she could.
and stopped federal student loan fraud.
That's right.
She deliberately cooperated. She's a co-conspirator in these crimes.
She is.
And the purpose after 2008, in 2009, and
That's-
2010, to illegally prosecute me in Manhattan was to create a false record.
That's right.
And they were trying to fool people,
They were.
people who didn't know better, like members of Marlene Abramova's community, into creating a false record saying that city judges could only enforce city law,
Yeah.
state judges could only enforce state law,
Yeah.
federal judges could only enforce federal law. That's not true.
It's not true.
I gave Judge Rodriguez, Judge Ray Velasquez, these are municipal court judges in
Yes.
Jersey City, case law that shows a city court judge, municipal court judge, with a pro se litigant like me can enforce federal statutes, federal law to stop federal student loan fraud, and Judge Rodriguez refused to do it. Now we got 10 minutes left.
Yes.
All right, let me just ask you a couple of quick questions.
Sure.
Number one, is that the original sweater that you wore for all those shows at the beginning?
I get like 2 hours 2 hours sleep a night. I mean, we were in Brooklyn, Newark. I went to White Plains. I've covered more territory in 3 days. We stopped. Mrs. Povedetti was going to be evicted. We put a stop to that. There was another case in Jersey City, where now Frank Babcock, municipal court judge Frank Babcock.
With the governor.
We were at the governor. We were at the press conference. It's been a whirlwind of activity.
It's been a busy week.
I'm lucky this isn't smell-o-vision. That's all I can say.
Alex, let me ask you something. You know that picture you show every week with you with that, what is it, the congresswoman or whatever?
Congressman Carolyn B. Maloney.
Right.
You have that picture?
Yes, I do.
Well, we have the whole video.
Of course I
the
have
whole
the-
footage.
Because, I mean, how did you get that picture? You had your face buried in her hair, and I mean, do you have another picture? I mean.
Wait, well, yes, we do have another picture.
Take a look.
Let's get another picture. This is the press conference that we went to.
We all should want another year.
Wait.
So these men and women, they knew what they were getting into.
Hold it.
They went in and made that sacrifice.
This was the, wait, I want to get to the press conference. Why don't you start telling the audience about, you're going to talk about, we went to a press conference, and the purpose of the press conference was...
Ground zero.
They want to cut funding to 911 first responders. And
didn't they take care of that already?
No, they want to cut the funding, and I'm going to show right here. This I'm going to change the camera view, and this is right here. This is Alex Sanchez at the press conference. Should I increase the magnification just a bit? This is John Field, and this is Senator. You want to take over a little bit, Senator Gillibrand?
It's basically your usual suspect. Once again, start your engine. The looming 2013 budget cuts, known as sequestration, already exempts veterans and at least 6 federal programs which aid the sick and the injured.
Sure.
A preliminary report from the OMB, Office of Management Budget, says $38 million are supposed to be slated under the 9/11 health programs.
Okay.
This is unheard of because we are living in a country that has 11 years down the road to provide long-term medical treatment.
Let me just get the audience up to speed, okay? Alex Sanchez lives in Washington Heights. We're neighbors.
Yes.
Alex Sanchez is a 911 first responder, and he works with other foundation advocates. They had to fight long and hard to get a health care bill because these people inhaled and ingested poisons that are now making them sick and they're dying.
But let me also make a point because a lot of people seem to be confused. They believe only firefighters and police officers.
That's right.
September 11 contamination does not discriminate from the very elite, which are the ones that live in the area, middle class, firefighters, police officers, laborers, the children that went to school around the area.
Sure.
Everybody was affected. Marshals, FBI, sheriff.
500,000 people came in direct contact with 9/11.
Corrections officers from Jersey were used.
Yeah.
We have 911 first responders in Jersey.
Yeah.
Correction officers from downtown criminal court.
Yeah.
One of the things I remember most, because I witnessed the attack, was a CO who left the court building, and all I heard was the taps of his shoes on the ground. I'm never going to forget that sound. Still looms me today.
So there were many people who inhaled, and by the way, I just want to put this in as a little dig. Before you came, we were talking about how the government lied about a woman named Patricia Waiters in Jersey. And one of the things that was discussed at this press conference was the government lied.
Yes.
And told everybody that the air was clean and healthy. And so there were a lot of people at 911 who breathed in these poisons. They're sick, they're dying, they're getting cancer, birth defects, and the government doesn't want to deal with what happened because it's going to be
responsibility that government should have. As I mentioned, we don't need bigger government or smaller government. What we need is responsible government.
Yes.
But when you start dealing with, you're going to have to provide health care coverage to the 911 first responders. And what's happening now, they got their health care bill, but now they want to cut funding. First they had to get the bill, so that was a big fight.
That's right.
Then they had to add some cancer to it because cancers were, so that's another big fight.
Just recently, the federal government acknowledged that many of these cancers are caused by World Trade Center debris exposure. And one thing I also want to mention, you see me today, our diseases are invisible. I have nodules in my lungs. I have upper airway obstruction lung disease. I'm on 4 asthma medication, and I'm on the nebulizer 3 times a day. If I walk into a room, no one will know this because I'm not missing an arm or a leg or a limb. And this has been one of the major difficulties. But for those who have yet received the memo, out of 435 districts that we have in the United States, 431 have been affected.
So what they like to do, first they had to fight to get the bill. Then they had to fight to get cancer added to the bill. Now they have to fight to keep the bill.
Right.
And they want
Cancer wasn't on it. What was it? What was on it? I mean, if cancer wasn't originally on that thing.
No, it wasn't. They had to
I
fight.
would have thought cancer would have been number one on
No, they don't want that at all. That's going to be very. And here's the other problem. And if you start talking about the failed policies that led to this, that's a can of worms they don't want to get into. So what?
That's another show.
Right. Well, no, you'll be here for a long time
We'll
getting
be
into
here.
all that. But the reason why this is important was because there are some people like Congresswoman Maloney.
Yes.
And I'm going to bring up this right now. Let me just
Get her.
get her, and then we'll
That's
show.
my fairy godmother. right there.
Congresswoman Maloney has been instrumental in trying to help the 911 first responders
She
and the
has
other.
been the author of the 9/11 Health and Compensation Act.
Yes.
And one of the reasons I'm here today, thanks to Lydia and her show Crooked Doctors, is I'm stumping for Caroline because we need people like Caroline Maloney
We sure do.
in the U.S. Congress. Someone who's been there for 18 years. Someone who has led the fight on behalf of women, on behalf of the post office employees,
Yes.
on behalf of those who were cheated with their credit cards,
Yep.
and especially my community, those afflicted by 9/11 contamination. Congresswoman Maloney and the many others in the New York congressional delegation has made it a true commitment to those who help lift a city, enact an economy, and our nation. We after 9/11, the failed policies of the Bush administration, we went to Iraq under false pretenses.
Yes.
We invaded Afghanistan, and we're still there 11 years down the
That's
road.
right.
And let's applaud President Barack Obama for bringing our troops home from Iraq and working on a deal for
I think-
2014.
I think what we're trying to say is because we talk about Democrats and Republicans,
Yes.
We had that conversation
and
last night.
what we're trying to say is we're going to support the people who are trying to do the right thing.
Exactly.
So
It
It don't
sometimes
matter whether you were Tip O'Neill, Ronald Reagan, I keep mentioning this.
Yes.
And the bipartisan politics started with Newt Gingrich under the presidency of Bill Clinton.
Bill Clinton.
They shut down the government. And this was almost happened a couple of years ago.
Yep.
In 2010, we have a Congress that waits a couple of minutes before a deadline, before anything gets done.
Yep.
And as Bill and I were discussing also last week, the main intention of a minority leader in the Senate,
Yes.
Mitch McConnell, was for President Obama to fail, to be a one-term president.
Right. One
That
term.
does not show any patriotism on behalf of our country whatsoever.
No, it does.
Well, I think because we're talking about, we're going to go out in a few minutes, but what we're in Newark, and we support City Council member Darren S. Sharif. He's an independent.
Yes, he is.
You're supporting Carol B. Maloney.
Democrat.
We went and asked for help from Governor Christie,
Republican.
a Republican, and Governor Christie is trying very hard to work with Senator Stack.
Yes,
Senator
a Democrat.
is a Democrat, but he's not part of the
He's not part of the establishment. He's
The-
more an independent person.
well, he's not part of the established corruption.
Established corruption in
So
Hudson County.
I guess what unites us is that
The
we've
love of country.
and we're sick to death of the corruption.
Right, the common.
I was so disappointed in 2010 when the Sadroga Act came up for a vote in the Senate and not have Olympia Snowe very much
A Republican?
support a Republican Senator, Olympia Snowe, someone who I admired because of her work in the Senate, not have her support our legislation.
Yes.
And then a $10.7 billion bill was reduced to 4.3. Let me also mention, we're not interested in 5 years of medical treatment for 9/11 responders.
That's right.
Exposure science teaches us that when you are exposed to high level of toxicity, you need 25 to 30
Sure.
years. And until we don't get that, Carol Maloney and the others and the advocates and the leaders like John Field in our
Sure.
community
We're
will
out.
not rest.
Okay, good. You got it all in.